قولي صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. To hasten the reappearance of our Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. سيدنا عفوا سيدنا السيد فاضل استمعكم عذرا. Last night we spoke about the identity of the woman and the attack that identity experienced. And today we'll continue through with the strategies that were used to address the identity of the woman, especially in the Muslim society. Now, one of the main strategies that was used in the 20th century and then also continued in the 21st century was addressing the woman and telling her, teaching the woman how to relieve herself from what's called the manly society. They presented the Muslim society as a society that's male dominated, it's tribal, it's the male in this society is a second lord. This is how they presented the society. And they told the woman that you must rid yourself from this society. They provided this misinformation. Now, little do they know what actually happens and who's actually in charge, but we won't tell them that. Now, their goal from doing this, the main goal, was to show the male and female entities as two entities that are against each other, instead of showing them as two entities that cause takamul, complement each other, complete each other. They portrayed them as two entities that are supposed to be against each other. They tried to set them against each other. Now, what happens when this actually infects our communities? You find the language changes. The men start blaming the women start blaming the men. There becomes conflict. Why? Because of this image that's being portrayed. The image that the woman and the male do not complete each other. No. Rid yourself from this community and what it comes with. Now, a lesson that we learned from Sayyidah Zahra alayhi salam. One day, Imam Ali alayhi salam and Sayyidah Zahra, they went to the Holy Prophet, asking the Holy Prophet to arbitrate between them in regards to their obligations. They told him, we have all these obligations as a married couple, and we want you to find a solution. What is each and every one of us, what's our duty? The Holy Prophet told Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, the house up to the door is your duty. And from the door and outside, Ali, that's your duty. Okay? So, there's a few lessons to learn from this. And then after the Holy Prophet said this, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam says, the joy that I experienced, no one understood it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? From the solution that the Holy Prophet gave me, so that I don't have to deal with the outside, I don't have to deal with the men. There are three lessons we can learn from this. Number one, the division of tasks. The men complement the woman complements the man. There was once a man that came to one of my friends. He told him, I've got a bad wife. Bad wife? What do you mean? He said, I've got a bad wife. Okay, so Do you have children? He said, yes. Okay, do you leave the house at times? He said, yes, I do. Do you sometimes find the need to go and travel overseas? He said, yes, I do. He said, okay, when you travel overseas, are you worried that you've got children at home? What information are they being given? What are they being fed? Are they being looked after? He said, no. He said, who does this for you? He said, my wife. Okay, then how do you say your wife is a bad wife when she's looking after your children and allowing you to complete your tasks? If it wasn't for this, how would you have been able to complete your task as a man? The man compliments the woman, and the woman compliments the man by completing their tasks. When the tasks are unclear, this is when we have problems. That's the first lesson. The second lesson we learned from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is housework that was assigned to Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. If this was a humiliation, if it was demeaned, then would the Holy Prophet have given this task to his daughter? No, of course not. So housework is not demeaned in any way. It's not looked down upon in any way. That's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 that we learn from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is that modesty and being able to protect your modesty is a great joy. She said, the joy that I experienced in that moment, no one understood it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is it joyful? When you are able to protect your modesty, you are able to protect your haya, your dress code as a man, as a woman, as a man. If you are not put into a situation that you have to deal with women, shake hands with women, then you should actually be joyful about that and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And this is why Fatima Zahra alayhi salam was joyful, because she did not have to be put in a situation that would compromise her modesty in any way. These are the 3 lessons we learn from this situation here. Now, the second strategy they took in addressing the woman, they said you must relieve yourself and free yourself from what's called the historic dress code. What's the abaya? What's the hijab? What's all of these dress codes that you have? These are all backwards. That's what they tried to feed to the woman. They tried to tell the woman the shyness, the modesty that you exhibit, this is all backwards. As you progress in life, you should let go of these. That's what they tried to teach the woman. That all of these things that you're used to is something that's historic. Let go of it and move forward. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam gives us another lesson. Before this lesson, yesterday I was speaking to Sayyid Fadl. Gave me a beautiful analogy. You've got these people, the West, they're telling the woman that you must free yourself. Why do they care? Do they actually care about what the woman dresses like? No, they don't. They make up all these excuses. Pauline Hanson came out the other day with the dress that she was wearing, and then she was on an interview saying that you don't know who could be under this burqa, this dress. They make up things and they expect people to believe it. Anyway, they say free yourself from this. Why do they care? The answer is they do not care. They want to enter and change the ideology that we have. The analogy that was used is this. You've got a farmer. He has a pack of sheep, a herd of sheep, I should say. He protects this herd of sheep in a shed. The wolves outside, they look, they're waiting for the sheep to come out, but they never come out. They wait and wait and wait. They wanted a solution. How do we make these sheep come out? Outside the shed, these wolves began calling. We want freedom for the sheep. We want the sheep to be free, let them out. They started protesting and calling out. Soon the sheep themselves began thinking, wait, these wolves must care about us. Let's leave. They left. As soon as they left, the wolves attacked them and killed them. When they call for your freedom, why do they care? Ask yourself this question. The answer is they do not care except for their own benefits. Now, the lesson we've learned from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, that modesty has no limits. One day she was sitting with Asma, radwanullah ta'ala alayha, and she told her, Asma, I realize all the women when they're going to get buried, when they die, they place them on a flat bed, a flat carrier, and they place a sheet over them. And this sheet, you can see the body, you can understand what the body of the woman looks like under this sheet. It's not protecting her. She said, I don't want this. What solution do you have for me? Asma said, when I was in Habasha, in Abyssinia, nowadays Ethiopia, when I was there, I learned something from them. She said, I'll show you. She grabbed the bed, flipped the bed upside down. Now you've got the legs of the bed standing up. She placed palm leaves on the legs of the bed, made a frame, and then put a cover on top of it. And this was called the na'ash, the bee. The first na'ash that was made in Islam, I believe, is the na'ash of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Before that, it was just a flat stretcher with a cloth on top. What lessons can we learn from this? The lesson we can learn, number one, is modesty has no limits. Just like a person that has gold, has any treasure, has any valuable belongings, they always are thinking of ways as to how they can protect this. How can I maintain this? The same when it comes to modesty. Always think to yourself, how can I maintain my modesty and improve it? Not go backwards, but improve it. That's one lesson we learn from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. She thought about her death and how she could maintain this modesty to her death. Number two, lesson number two, we learn from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is that you should have a friend around you that encourages you towards what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt. When you have a friend that is a person that understands what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then in a time of hardship, they will give you the right solution. In the time of hardship, you're not going to have time to go and look for the right friend. That's why you should surround yourselves with friends that can encourage you towards what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the second lesson we learn from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Now, what they realized in the 21st century is that these methods of trying to convince the woman to let go of these things that they held on to, at least some of them held on to it dearly, it wasn't working. So they used force. Back in the 20th century, some countries like Iran, Turkey, they used force to try and take away the hijab from the woman. But soon they found out when the government was changed, they realized that it had no benefit. Everyone went back to what they used to do. They went back to the abaya, they went back to the hijab. So they realized that how they approached the woman must change. So in the 21st century, they realized that they had to convince the woman otherwise. What are some techniques that they used? The first technique they used is trying to throw the woman and the man, by the way, the woman and the man into the trap of desires. They didn't tell them, don't wear this hijab. They realized it doesn't work. If you can't take the hijab away from the woman, then take the meaning behind hijab away from her. How so? Hijab is beauty. Make the hijab help you be beautiful. When the hijab is linked to beauty, does it lose its purpose or not? Now you start thinking of it, the style, the color, how I should wear it. slowly, slowly it starts coming off until there's nothing left of it. When you take the meaning away from hijab, hijab becomes meaningless to an extent. When you don't understand the meaning. And this is what they tried to do. They told them that hijab is beauty. So you do what you want to do. And that's why nowadays you see the styles, the colors, and so not in our communities. Now, the lessons that we can learn from Fatima Zahra alayhi salam in this situation. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, in a long narration, and I don't have time, she says, خير, what is best for a woman? She says, خير للمرأة أن لا ترى رجلا ولا يراها رجل. It is best for a woman to not be seen by a man and for a man not to see her. When I keep this in mind, then I will make sure I understand why I am doing what I'm doing for the woman. I understand what my hijab actually means. What Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is saying in this narration. She's not saying that a woman should be in a cage. She's saying that you should try, as a woman, try and limit your exposure as much as you can to non-mahram men. Try and limit unnecessary exposure. Even when it comes to social media. Try to limit how much men see of you. Same for the men. Don't show everything you have to the public. Your accounts, why can't they be secure? Why can't they be private? Look after your hijab physically and also look after your life. Make sure this is not something that's present for everyone to see. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله